Hello, and welcome to Insurance Answers 101, where we address common insurance questions with easy to understand answers. Today, I'm going to talk about what is the difference between term life and whole life life insurance. It's actually pretty simple, and after this video, you should have a very clear understanding. So, let's start with whole life. Whole life means it is a policy that is good for the whole remainder of the life of whoever the named insured is on the policy. So whether you take out the policy when you're 30 or 40 years old or 60 years old, it's going to be good from the day that policy is effective until the day that person dies. So whether they pass away at 55 or 115, that policy is going to pay out whatever the face amount is of that policy at the time the named insured passes away. So a lot of times people will get these policies in order to make sure they have their burial or funeral costs covered, or maybe to leave some behind to their spouse or children or heirs, whatever it may be. So basically a whole life policy is good for the whole life of the named insured. Very cut and dry. Term life means it is a policy that is good for a specific term of time. So it may be a 20-year term, 30-year term, however, whichever length you decide to purchase. Oftentimes people will get a term life policy because maybe they have a large asset that they want to basically make sure will be covered. An example of this is maybe a younger married couple who maybe has a child or two, may have recently purchased a house, they have a mortgage on the house, and they will buy a term life policy, basically as a mortgage protection, to where if one of those spouse were to die suddenly or unexpectedly, then the other spouse won't be left holding the bag on the remainder of the mortgage on that house. Or for any reason similar to that. But the term life insurance policy will be good for whatever term you select. So if it's a 20-year term, then from the effective date of that policy for the next 20 years, that policy is good. Now, after that 20 years is up, that policy expires, it's no longer active, and it's over. Some policies or some insurers may give some options when you get close to the end of a term. They may give an option for some type of renewal or a conversion over to a whole life. It just all depends on the policy you went with. But so it's real simple. Another reason some people may pick one over the other, the whole life tends to be a little higher premium price. So you may be able to get a $100,000 or $150,000 term life policy for the same price you would get a $30,000 whole life policy. So again, if you have an exceptionally large asset you want to keep protected, then it might be in your best interest to go with the term life. If you're more concerned about just keeping your funeral costs covered or just leaving money behind, then a whole life might be the way to go. And one more thing, when it does come to a whole life policy, they sometimes do have different payment options you can get. So you can say you can select a whole life policy that you're going to make payments on until maybe, say, 100 years old before that policy is paid off in full, or maybe 65 years old, or some might have like a 10 or 15 year pay where after 10 or 15 years the policy is paid off, but then the policy is good for the rest of your life. Usually the longer you go, if you pick a pay till 100 policy, then the price is going to be a little cheaper than if you pick a, say, 15-year pay policy. Your monthly premium is going to be a little higher the shorter your payment installment is that you select, which only makes sense. So hopefully that clears it up, answers some questions. That is the difference between a term life and a whole life insurance policy. And be sure to check in for the future, or in the future, There may be some other questions when it comes to life insurance policies right here on this channel, so feel free to like and subscribe, and you can always check back for additional info right here on this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.